Welcome in. How you guys doing? I know I've been missing for a little bit. I have not done many comedy reactions for a little while. I've been hitting kind of a dead stop. Trying to figure out what to react to, what not to react to. Trying to follow up on requests, etc. and life. We all know how life is. But I see our boy, Josh Johnson, has dropped a new comedy special. And he is talking about Tariff Tantrum, America versus China and the rest of the world. Now, I'm sure everybody's been following the news and seeing the stock exchange, everything been kind of plummeting due to these crazy, wild-ass tariffs that Mr. Trump has decided that he's dropping on the whole world. And some distant, uninhabited places around the globe that don't make no sense to me. But hey, who am I? We just the people down here. You know what I'm saying? They make the decisions. I'm sure they should be smart enough to know what they're doing. Just saying. Let's go, man. Welcome in, y'all, man.
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
If I'm truly being honest with y'all, one thing I've not been able to stop thinking about is the tariffs.
Straight out the back. Straight out the gate. Ain't even playing, man.
It's like is all I can think about, because all I read about, because it seemed like everybody is like, oh, this is bad. I know people who do not watch the news at all that are like, why is everything red? Did everybody change logos or something? Every time I turn on TV, everything red. What is that? My TV bleeding, something going on. No, in case you have not been aware, in case you're trying to protect yourself and go about your day, there's been a bit of a trade war going on. The wildest thing about a trade war is that you are allowed to, like, okay. I was trying to put this in perspective. Okay, you know how when you were like on the playground and, you know, somebody would be like, my dad can beat up your dad. And you were like, oh, you think your dad can beat up my dad? It's like, yeah, I think my dad can beat up your dad. And then, you know, kid one over here is like, yeah, well, my dad goes to CrossFit. And, you know, kid two is like, yeah, well, my dad has been to jail. Sort of the CrossFit of life. So I bet you my dad can beat up your dad. And then, you know, other kid, CrossFit kid, dad is like, my dad, he has swords. He has swords, so you can try to beat him up, but he'll chop your dad up. And then kid two is like, well, my dad has guns. That's actually why he had to go to the CrossFit of life. It's because he has lots of those. A couple swords too, but he prefers to bring the guns when he has issues. And then,
kids should not be talking like this.
CrossFit, sword, dad, kid. It's like, yeah, well, my dad is 6'5", so he could definitely beat up your dad. And then, you know, gun, jail. Kid is like, oh, my dad is 5'2", so he has quite a chip on his shoulder. So your dad will be dying. All right?
Short people syndrome.
And that's kind of what a trade war is like. You know what I mean? It's like nothing has to happen in the moment, but it is a lot of being behind the desk like, I bet you my economy can beat up your economy. And yeah, we know that Trump loves tariffs because even in his first term, he had a lot of tariffs on China for steel and everything. And he campaigned on tariffs and what he thought tariffs would do, at least what he says that they'll do for the U.S. economy in the long run. And so we know that he is serious about the tariffs. I think there were definitely some people that thought that he wasn't serious about the tariffs. He was so serious about the tariffs that apparently, now look, I'm gonna do my best here. I am both paraphrasing for the sake of brevity and going off of things that I've read and things that I've been told, and I am not an economist, so I'll do my best job, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna be wrong, okay? But I'm gonna be as close to right as possible on purpose. But apparently this man loves tariffs so much that right when he took office, there were economists, conservative Trump voting Republican economists who, while leaning right, still understand the economy. They still, that's not a.
I'm not even going front, like all I've seen. And no, it's not just MSNBC and what they like to say, blue supporting news channels, you know what I'm saying? I've seen this everywhere. I've seen Trump supporters coming out like, yo, bro, my business is literally going out the door. You know, I'm in debt. I'm seeing people who had trades in stocks screaming like, yo, I've lost like 70 grand and I've voted for Trump. You know, these tariffs, from the looks of it, and I'm on the outside looking in, you know, we over here across the waters. It looks like the people who really are suffering are actually Americans themselves, while the people who are benefiting from this, the 1%, the rich, you know, Trump and his goons, his friends, trust me, they profiting from this while everybody else is out here struggling. It's kind of sad to just look at. This is 2025 and this shit is allowed to happen. Nobody's held accountable for the actions. The lack of accountability in this day and age is crazy.
I'm saying that the two things can exist together. I'm saying that they understand the economy and they vote the way they vote, but they know the numbers, is what I'm saying. Because I'm not an economist. They understand the economists, kind of. So they immediately went to work coming up with tariff plans so that way whenever Trump wanted to enact his tariffs, they would have the numbers ready, right? And so they did all the math and they did all the going back and forth and did all the figuring out that could be figured, you know? And then they went to Trump and he wasn't happy with the plan apparently because in order to enact the tariffs the way that he wants, the numbers, a lot of them at least, were quite small. So then Trump, paraphrasing, but he was like, what is this 1.7? What is this 2.8, these 2.3, this 0.8? No, we need big numbers. We need to impress the people. You gonna send me out there and embarrass me in front of America? I need big numbers. Get me some big numbers, which apparently is why when he walked out with that poster board, you know that...
I saw that.
You saw the board. You know that board that... You saw it, it looked like homework, right? Like that poster board. Yeah, poster board out, and he was going down the line, right? He was going down and just naming places like 10.
I swear there was a place on there that the only inhabitants of that island, country, piece of land, whatever you want to call it, was penguins, seals, and polar bears. I don't want no polar bear or seal penguins done to Donald Trump. But you're going to put tariffs on seals and penguins? Damn. I'm here thinking like, is Gotham City for real? Is Batman out there really pissing off the penguin? He's like, yo, bro, all the penguins didn't come to my defense. Yo, Trump, got you where you at. Remember New York? Yeah, we need to banish these penguins from off the face of this earth. Like, what the fuck? Sometimes I wonder, man, are we living in the Matrix? Is this real? Is this world really happening? Like we're seeing it? Or they gotta be bullshitting me? What I'm seeing gotta be a bunch of BS, but I'm like, nah, it just can't be.
10, 10, 10, 10, 10, little bit of jelly donut. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, a little bit of chicken grease. That was not 100, that was a 10. 10, 10, 10, 94. Because he hit the world with 10% tariffs. If you were anywhere on earth, you could get this 10. Please don't think you can't get this 10 just because you uninhabited. Anybody can get it.
Bro, did I just say that? Did I just say that? Even if you're uninhabited. I just said this.
Anybody can get it.
Anybody can get this.
Please believe me when I tell you. Anybody can get it.
Can get it. Polar bears can get it.
You think you're cute because you just got some little aminals on your little island? You still getting it, all right? We don't care. This is America. We do what we do when we feel like it. 10, 10, 10, 34, 10, 10, 10, 10, 78, 10, 10, 10.
This is taking the
and it was perplexing. The economists didn't understand it. Top Republicans didn't understand it. Even the people that were in support of Trump and his tariffs couldn't tell you that they really understood it.
Facts.
No one really understood it because there wasn't too much to understand. Everybody who does numbers was like, ooh, this is not numbers. This
ain't numbers. This is not numbers.
Not the numbers that I thought it was when I thought, ooh.
I want to see, Bob. I really hope that states don't go into recession. Because if they do, it affects the rest of the world. And then it affects people, livelihoods, families, etc. I got family in the States, you know what I mean? So I never wish bad on another country. I don't care who they have in power, you know. At the end of the day, it's the people that have to suffer, you know, so.
We. They were on like CNBC, basically any money channel, any money news channel. When these tariffs went out, they were on there cursing live. They were like, fine us, we don't care, we're all gonna die. You think I care about $10,000? I'll throw you another couple. The dude who does the bleeps must have had money in the market because he was gone. They were up there cursing live. I couldn't believe it. Normally, you'd even see the blurry mouth. I saw them enunciate the swear words. I was like,
people pissed. Bro.
Okay.
The biggest one angry should be the real president, Elon Musk. He the one should be pissed. Tesla crashing right now. They can't get no parts, no chips, no nothing. You gonna put 150, 125? I know what the tariffs are. They changing every minute. 200%, whatever on China. Will you get most of your parts for your vehicles? You know, I'm complex, bro. I don't know. Was it Navarro who came up with these numbers? Whoever came up with these numbers and sold it on to Trump, man, whatever they smoking, they need to let the rest of the world know. Because, bro, we don't need to be touching that. I don't want to. Let me know what it is. I'm staying far away from it. You know what I mean?
This might be bad then. If the people who do money all day are upset and they looking at the red and everything look upside down on the graphs, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go up like this.
Not down.
Yeah, I mean, you getting a little low, Dow. Dow Jones was not playing. That Dow Jones was like, hey, I'm dead, y'all. No.
Resuscitate me, bro. Bring me back to life.
S&P 500 was down to 5. It was bad. It's like these were rough moments we were in, and nobody really understood why. We lost $3 trillion of value in the market in a day. People were showing me pictures of the stock market and the S&P and the Dow, and then their portfolio, and I was like, man, we got to pick a different color because that much red ain't good for your eyes.
That red was killing it, bro.
But yeah, apparently, there were economists that tried to figure out something that would do what Trump said they wanted to do, but he was like, no, I need to go out to the people and really make a statement, and I need to make a statement for the other nations so they take this thing seriously. So, 10, give me some 34s, give me some 55s, I'll take anything, just bring it all to me. And they were like, sir, that isn't math. That may not work, but Trump was so dead set on going to other countries like, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, like an opposite Oprah, like a reverse Oprah.
You get a car, you get a car.
You get a tariff. You cry and take that tariff. Right? And now this part, I hope, is not true. I'm repeating it because I've read it like in 5 different places. It's been told to me 3 different times, but apparently he sort of sent away the plan that the actual economist wrote up, and then he asked someone else to draw up a plan that would do the tariffs truly bigly, right? Like we really making a statement. And in doing that, they did, apparently, I don't want this to be true because it means we're all doomed, but apparently they did ask ChatGPT what to do with which I don't know. I feel like even when they typed that in to ChatGPT, Chat was like, you sure, dog? Like,
But it asked AI to figure this out.
which is a fitting bit of irony, though. It is kind of funny to me that like ChatGPT wrote up a formula that was then applied that then tanked the stock of the company that owns ChatGPT. Like that's it's a beautiful little closed loop. But ChatGPT went ahead and did its thing. They asked him, hey, how can we tariff the whole world and not have everybody die? And ChatGPT was like, I don't know about the die part, but I will get you a little formula real quick. And it went and then it dropped this formula, and that's the same formula that they've been showing. Now this formula, it does have all the components of like a math equation. It's got the parentheses in there. It's got some X and some Y. Has a little cursive. It has that little squiggly thing for when you divide. And I think it has everything that you've ever like looked at a meme about confusion that was coming at you. It's in there.
Yep.
It's all that stuff. All that beautiful mind drawing stuff is what's in the thing. It's got some tops. It's got some bottoms. It's got some other like little symbols rubbing together and everything. But apparently, when plugging in any type of numbers into this equation, they still got the math wrong. So no matter if this thing came from ChatGPT or if it came from some mathematic genius, when applied, it was still applied wrong because the tariffs more went towards the tariff amounts more went to trying to reciprocate the amount of money with countries that we had a deficit with than the actual like reciprocal tariff, if that makes sense. Like we applied that thing as if, oh, they're just tariffing us this much, so we're going to tariff them the same amount. But rather than actually doing that, we were like, here is some math just to make everybody confused real quick, and then we'll actually go ahead and slap a tariff on them for their deficit or for their surplus, which also does not make any sense because then we're both punishing people who buy a lot from us and punishing the people we sell to off the things that we sold them to make things for us, right? So it's basically like
Yep.
it's basically like being in a bad marriage where like it's like being in a bad marriage where it's like, well, I don't know why you hate me. You married me. Like, I don't I'm just over here being your husband. I don't really get why you so mad at me right now. Ooh, you hate me, but you married me. Anyway. And so that is partially where we landed, which is distressing. that first day these tariffs get applied, the markets react and everything, and $3 trillion of value is just gone, sort of wiped out in the moment. And then the next day it was worse, because the next day they were like, oh, we still doing it? Because we can get redder. We can get, oh, we haven't even broke out all the red in the crayon box yet. We can keep getting red. And then there was like another $6 trillion loss, like over time. But like we were at $6 trillion, I think, by like that Friday at 4 p.m. or something. And then we lost money over the weekend, which I didn't even think was possible. I thought the whole point of the market closing was to close. Don't keep counting. That doesn't feel fair to me, to keep counting even though we closed and now I owe more than I owed before. That's not fair at all. But then when Japan opened up and Japan was plunging about 8% on their market, and then our futures were also our futures, you know the future, you know the thing you're supposed to look forward to, that was also looking bleak for us. And then our market opened and the market was like, no, we still dying, dog.
So, in short, this whole tariff idea was insane, was dumb, was something made up by an AI that you went and based on for the whole world. Somebody wake me up from this dream, because I'm telling you, this can't be 2025. Yo, bro, let's roll, man.
I'm not pretending. I'm not going to pretend to know math. You know what I mean? I've met math. I've been affected by math, for sure. Math rules everything around me, yes. But when I tell you that the...
Hey, I'm not even trying to like pronounce that in my head. Like Mreem, Mr. Eam. Okay, you know that's cream, yeah? Wu-Tang. Cash rules everything around me, bro. I said math. Let's go.
The reason I don't want to hold like public office, I don't want to do any of that stuff, is because I don't want my math to affect anybody else, because I'm bad at it. I'm bad at math. The only time that my math affects other people's lives is when it's my turn to pay at dinner. And that is a bummer for everyone. That is, you can feel it. Okay. When it's my turn to pay for the check and I'm trying to, in my head, out loud, figure out the tip to then add I gotta divide to do the tip, and then I gotta add the number I just divided and then put that together and put that on the total on the merchant copy, all right? We're all up to speed. We've all been to a restaurant. But watching me do that it instantly feels like when the teacher would make you read in class, but you knew a big word was coming up. You had been trying to sound out this word while the teacher was talking about some other stuff, because you had already counted the paragraphs.
My man talking about he was on the short bus, bro.
Teacher making everybody go one paragraph for paragraph for paragraph, and you like, okay, I'm sitting here, which means I'm 8 paragraphs away. That's my word. Oh no! And so then you trying to sound out the word in your head, but you can't sound out in your head. So you're like, maybe I'm not even sounding out right now because my head is quiet. And then they get to you and it's your turn to read, and you're like reading all good, killing it. You even sounding out the commas. You know what I mean? You see that comma and you go, pause. And then you finally hit that big word and you like, all right. Hey, you old enough now, you don't want to sound like you sounded out, because everybody will think you can't read, even though you read half the paragraph with no problem. You did mic drops on those periods. Anytime there was a period in a sentence, you were like, this good textbook right here. Yeah, what do y'all know about this English lesson, this Chaucer, okay? And then you finally get to the word and you're like, that's a cough. That was a cough. That wasn't even me reading just now. That's
what's wrong with this dude? That's not like a beatbox. He's a dickhead, bro. Yo, my boy beatboxing, you know. Yo, let me find out this bug of beatboxing, though. You learn something new by everybody every day. Yeah, my man beatboxing, you know.
And the teacher goes, scrumptious.
You're stupid, man. You stupid, man. You really stupid.
I was getting to it. Oh. I was getting to it. I was just trying to enjoy the word. I was trying to chew on the word. You the one getting all impatient and stuff. You trying to teach us patience. You're not even patient. That's me. Like, at least the closest I come to ruining everybody's life with math is when it's my turn to pay at dinner and I'm trying to factor out loud the tip and I'm hearing me try to do math in my head, hearing a grown man say carry the is not gonna inspire confidence in my abilities, right? If I'm sitting there with the, okay, and then you got the two right there, all right? Anytime I gotta do math without a calculator or a pencil, it's a whole conversation. I'm like, I'm literally sitting there like, all right, so, you know, I'm gonna do 25% because she was killing it, all right? So 25%, that's even better because it's also a quarter. Now I just gotta break this down into 4 parts and then put that line there, right? So now all I gotta do is get you to be still, be still, be still, be still. Stop it. I'm telling a 6 to stop it out loud at the table. Stop moving, all right? So now we gonna carry the 3, and if that 6 will be still, I think we at 9. No, that's up. That's not even division. That's more. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put a 4 here. And that 4 gonna slide up and trip that 5. Gonna kick the legs up under that 5. And then that's a 1. Why couldn't this be an even number? Why couldn't somebody just order the guacamole like I said? That would have got us closer. Okay, so 7 and 3, that's 10 anyway. So that's 10. So now we know we gonna have a 2 in there.
Yeah, I'll be, yo, by the time he's done, brother, like, yo, fam, I got this. I'm paying for this. It's already winding me up here, just like, yo, bro, how long you take? Yeah, I got this. Let's go.
I know y'all want to go. All right? Get in the car then. Get in the car. I'll follow. Yo. And then I get embarrassed. And so I just write the total twice. And then I'm like, at least if I tip 100%, nobody could be mad at me. But then I'm sitting there like, can I really afford this? Because then I got to get in the car and do the math in my head of my account. I'm like, all right, so we eating on Sunday, all right? Tomorrow is a business day. It's not going to go through till tomorrow. So if I add a 20 to the account, ooh, I'm overdrafting hard. Oh, I don't know what the number is, but I know that fee gonna hit. We're in a bad way. One of the biggest problems that I think is facing Americans and the country is that we don't have a sort of cohesive identity of care for each other. So, for instance, something could happen to a large swath. Was use the spoon a little bit. He was like, man. And people were like, all right, fingers and eyes. There were other people who never got the chance to beat his ass that just watched it with their phones, and you could see them just with the eyes going, ooh. And then they restrained him, and then they landed. Cops got on the plane like, damn. I thought we were whooping ass.
There's nothing left for us to do. Hey.
Look at man. This man tied down to the seat with seatbelts and duct tape and still got the spoon. And then, in the midst of all this turmoil, all this red, Trump tweeted, or, great time to buy. That's the most unserious thing I've ever heard in my life.
Oh,
That's
wild.
Honestly, look. Admit it for a second to yourself. You don't have to say it out loud, but just know in your heart, if this was any other country, you would be laughing your ass off at that. That is very, very, very funny. That is so inappropriate and so funny at the same time. It's basically like somebody driving the car towards your car accident going, wee!
Man is driving the country.
And then, because we don't have a serious system, because we're not doing things the way that maybe anybody should do them. Somebody from Trump's administration, I'm pretty sure his cabinet, and I don't want to say the wrong name, but just know that they're in his circle. They went on, maybe it was CNBC, it was one of the major news networks, and they were asked by the anchor, hey, do you think there's any possibility that all these tariffs, all this stuff going out is really just to raise the alarm bells, and that there's a possibility of a sort of 90-day situation, just like with Canada and Mexico? And then that guy said, yeah, the president's going to decide what he wants to decide. He's going to do what he wants to do. But then, off of that, you heard me when I said, yeah, the president's going to decide what he's going to do. Yeah, just off that noise, that noise right there. Yeah. Someone clipped that and tweeted the yeah. And then they said that there was about to be a 90-day pause. And then the market went up $3 trillion because we are not really here, I guess. Like, that's one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I knew money wasn't real before, but I didn't know. That's a noise. He didn't even give it a full yeah. Yeah. $3 trillion from right? And then it went back down again because the White House came out and was like, we never said that. And so it dropped all the way back. And then like 2 days later, Trump reversed the. He reversed the. 2 days later, he was like, yeah. He reversed the tariffs, and then the market shot up like $3 trillion again. I'm starting to think the market only understands $3 trillion.
Fake money.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying I knew it would happen. If I did, I would have made a lot of money, like some of those people that are potentially going to be investigated because they had calls on the market for 2,000%, and then they very rich.
Very rich.
Trump even pointed one out. He was like, "That guy made $9 billion today." whatever he said. And
Ratting people
yeah,
out, bro.
I'm just saying, I didn't expect it. I did not expect there to be a ton of follow through in that. I'm just saying that when he said, I'm not saying I believe everything he says. I'm saying I thought he believed what he said when he said it. I thought, look, I'm not saying I believe when he says the thing, I don't know if I believe it. But when anyone says what they say, you would think that they would know if they believe it or don't believe it because they said it, because they're alone in there with their head to say it or not say it, and then to know if they're lying or not lying. But then I was not in his head, so I'm like, I don't know, right? But I thought he would know whether or not he meant what he said anytime he speaks, just for himself, not for us. I understand. The man can lie, but this in your head just for you is where I don't think you should be able to fool yourself. I don't think you should be able to trick yourself that way. If you said it, you alone in your head in your room of one should know what you mean when you say it.
Man don't even know
and
what
I know that doesn't make sense, but it makes as much sense as the tariffs because it is in his head by himself. So, all right. Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah. That was the thing. That was the thing. And then he, reversed the tariffs on a bunch of countries, except he increased the tariffs on China because they had increased the tariffs on us in the wake of that thing happening. Mm-hmm. So then it was really just my dad can beat up your dad. I didn't forget you from before, so just know that my dad can beat up your dad. And then China was like, you don't look. China made a statement early into the little tariff trade war where they were like, if the U.S. wants a trade war or any other type of war, we're ready and we'll fight to the end. And that's a lot. That's a lot. I thought we were talking about numbers.
What's a trade war? Any kind of war.
That's another place to take it. And then Trump raised it to like almost 150% on. And this is my thing. I'm not an economist. I don't even know math. But can we at least keep the percents in the 100? Please? You know what I mean? Because we're getting into some dangerous territory. The only other place that percents have gone over 100 and has been bad for people in this way is Maury. Maury had people on that were 1,000% sure, and they couldn't have been more wrong. They could not have been more fundamentally incorrect. One of my favorite, in case you're not familiar with Maury, in case you have not been blessed with the afternoon programming, the after school watching that was Maury. There were episodes of Maury. Maybe my favorite episode of all time was white woman, white man, black baby, fraternity episode. That was art. So white woman over here, and she's like, that's his baby, Maury. That's his baby. Why won't he take care of his responsibilities more? Okay, so we dated for a while. We would hook up from time to time, and then we broke up. So I was out. You know what I mean? I saw some people, but that's his baby. Look at it. The baby got a head. He got a head. That's his baby. All right. And then I never thought that I would have to say it this way, but then this poor white man had to, in real time, navigate, making sure everyone understood he was not the father while not saying anything horrifically offensive. And to his credit, he really kept a cool head and did his best. He was like, okay, look. We all God's children, all right?
With a crowd full of black people as well, too. Yeah, I see what he's saying. I'm sure you had to be careful. That was Maury, man. Maury was like Jerry Springer, bro. But not as crazy as Jerry Springer, but you know what I'm saying, like, all God's children.
Okay, and I mean this with no disrespect to the African American gentleman baby or the community at large, but he and I are not kin.
Like my kid, they ain't my kid.
And then Maury, who is normally the voice of reason,
Normally.
who you think would have his back,
That laugh in the background.
says out loud, "You don't think this could be your child?"
Like, shocking.
And this man is sitting here like, "Maury, don't make me say it. Are you serious? Look at the screen." And then he read it out. He was like, the DNA results are in. He pulls it out of the envelope and he goes, "When it comes to the case of 2-year-old Dalmontravius."
Oh, it's all like 2 names put together, smack.
Mike, you are not the father. And of course she was like,
Running off
and she
the
did
set.
6 backflips and ran outside.
Yep, they all ran off the set.
And then he went, "Yeah, I know." Y'all be blessed. And that's my thing. It's like if you're gonna be more than 100% sure, you have to be so sure. You have to be right. You have to be correct. And
real.
China came out with a statement. I think it was today. It might have been yesterday. I don't know. I just saw it where they were like, due to the U.S. Tariff raise, we will be raising tariffs 125%, and any other raises the U.S. Will do in retaliation will be inconsequential and will be seen as a joke in the history of economies. And I'm just saying, maybe you don't want to get into a math contest with China.
Facts.
Y'all been fantastic. Thank y'all so much. Trillion.
Hey.
That's a lot.
Facts.
That's a lot.
Let me pause there. Get back down. But yeah, on a real note, as I said, it's crazy right now. All you see on the news is tariffs this, tariffs that. And it just makes you wonder, which magician's hat did he pull that out of? Because, like, nobody put any deep thought behind this. Not at all. I thought it was one big joke, and turned out it was actually serious. Now, y'all let me know down in the comment section, have they affected you? Have they not? Is it just more fake news? Or is the shit real? Let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Take care, be safe, stay blessed.